Welcome once again, my people, at Fox 7 News. I still remain Mazi O.G.B. I want to say thanks for giving us your time. And in today, we are going to be doing something that we've never done before, but we have a promise to do more things that we've never done before. And we are going to do all for your own good and for our own good and for educative purpose. One, we are going to look into Nigeria economy versus South African economy. You know, it has been a very occurring argument that Nigeria economy is better than South African economy. And some other in the other side is arguing that South African economy is better than Nigeria economy. In your opinion, which one do you think is better than another? Okay, the thing is, Nigeria has more population than South Africa. It's very clear. Nigeria is estimated to have over 200 million population, and I think South Africa should be about less than 100 million or a little bit over that. I'm not very sure, yeah, but that is what it is. However, it is Nigeria has more population than South Africa. That means that Nigeria should have more larger economy. Their GDP, everything about them should be bigger, far bigger than South Africa. In natural resources, both are very blessed with that. South Africa is highly blessed with gold and so many other minerals. Nigeria is highly blessed with gold and crude and so many other minerals as well. And now let's look into that very quickly. Now, how do we evaluate these two economies and what are we going to use as case scenarios? First, let's do this. Nigeria economy works this way. Nigeria imports 95% of what they use in that country. That includes clothing, food, and other useful materials. And if you look at that, means that Nigeria produces about 5% of what they use, right? And import 95%. From food to clothing to cars to everything is imported. That is about 95% of the product they use in that country is imported. Now, let's look at South Africa. South Africa is assumed to be importing 85% of what they use. Yes, assumed to be importing 85%. Some say 80%. But to balance it, 85%. Now, South Africa does that. So if you look at the two, the country that imports less has more vibrant economy. And the country that imports more has a very unsuitable economy. I will tell you this. Here is the fact. If you look at South Africa and Nigeria, the violence you will find in South Africa, the crisis you will see in South Africa is different than that of Nigeria. In Nigeria, sorry to say this, but that is as it is. If you go to that part of the world, you will see that it's allegedly that there is a lot of insecurity, criminality, kidnapping, so on and so forth. Then, if you move down to South Africa, what you will find is a maybe moderate insecurity. And the insecurity is highly focused on stealing. I've never heard much about kidnapping in South Africa, but it is very rampant in Nigeria. Now, why is it too rampant in Nigeria? One, in Nigeria economy does not produce, they import, they consume. So for that reason, there is no job. And the only way to keep a country safe is to keep the youth busy. Take for example, look at China. You hardly hear about crime there. Look at South Korea. You hardly hear about crime in Korea. Look at Japan. Look at Taiwan. Look at Singapore. They hardly, experience stuff like stealing, pocket snatching, and all those stuff. Why is it so? Because the youth are busy. The people are busy. But in Nigeria, people are more or less busy. They are more like producing job for themselves. And the jobs they produce does not create additional job. It might create job for you and your family, but does not create space to employ other people because it's not a manufacturing based business. It's more of retailing, reselling what another person produced from another continent, right? So they import from overseas, come down to the country and employ one or two people to resell it to the people. But if you look at South Africa, at least they have manufacturing job there more than it is in Nigeria. So for that keeps the youth engaged and keep the youth busy. So more number of the youth are busy in South Africa than in Nigeria. Regardless that Nigeria has more population and perhaps the landmarks is bigger and everything, but still all these opportunities, they are not making use of it. I'm talking about the government, not the people of Nigeria. The people of Nigeria are amazing people, wonderful people, but they happens to have unsupportive government. Yep. Now, South Africa is less safe than Nigeria because the youth are busy than the youth in Nigeria. The youth in Nigeria create employment for themselves, but in South Africa, the government create employment for the people, even though not as much as expected. Yeah, that is the difference between Nigeria economy and South Africa economy. Next time, we are going to look into outside Africa and see the difference between other nations' economy and how can we relate it to Africa. And let's just try something new that will help us. Thank you.